Bienvenidos a la clase de español. Yo soy Señorita MacDade. Welcome to Spanish class. I'm Miss MacDade. Thanks for watching this video about a little overview of what I teach and what you kind of can expect from this course. So I'm going to start with a little bit about me. So again, yo soy Señorita MacDade. I'm Miss MacDade. And this is my third year at Del Val, third year of kind of still teaching in a pandemic, so it's been interesting for everyone. I previously taught high school Spanish in Pennsylvania. I was born and was raised in Hunterdon County, so I think that helps me relate to the students here at Del Val because we've, kind of grew up in a similar way and have similar experiences of living in rural New Jersey. So I have a background in international studies, and I minored in Spanish and fine arts. I have my MED in education, Spanish education, and I also just completed my certification to teach English as a second language. I studied in Valencia, Spain, which is on the Mediterranean. It was a wonderful experience, and that's really where I fell in love with the Spanish language and the culture, and where I really developed my fluency in the language. But after college, I wasn't always a teacher. I initially worked in the corporate world, kind of thinking that that's what I wanted to do. And it was a great experience, but I just wasn't really lit on fire about that type of setting. And I decided to become a teacher a few years later, which was the best decision I ever made because I absolutely love my job. I love teaching, and I love working with this high school age population. So very passionate about what I do. A little more about me. So this summer, I did a lot of outdoor stuff and traveled. I'm a huge outdoor enthusiast, so you'll see in some pictures here, I went to a couple of national parks and did some pretty great hikes with some really awesome views out west, also in New Hampshire. Great summer. When there isn't a pandemic, I love to travel internationally and kind of get outside of our comfort zone. I encourage students to do the same, but I know it's been really tough these past few years with the pandemic going on. So that's just really a big hobby of mine, though. Another passion of mine is art. I love to paint, so here's some of my paintings. And I tend to incorporate this kind of thing into the classroom, whether it's a project where I allow for some creativity or we will analyze artwork of people from Spanish-speaking cultures. And so just, another side of me. This year I'm teaching Spanish 1 Basic and Spanish 2. I also am the yearbook advisor. I'm the assistant volleyball coach, and I also coach lacrosse. So at this point, I'll give you an overview of the courses I'm teaching this year. So if your student or your child is in Spanish 1 Basic, here's where you might want to tune in. So in this course, we kind of break Spanish 1 down. We sort of simplify Spanish 1. So the expectation is that your child will be able to perform at the novice low level, which is kind of that beginner level, in terms of speaking, reading, writing, and listening comprehension. And the themes that we learn and we deal with in Spanish 1 are school, food, which is always fun. Everyone always likes that, friends and family, and shopping. So they're all things that students can really relate to. We do a lot of talking about ourselves, talking about each other. So it's very personalized, I should say. And then, of course, we talk about culture. So we learn, the goal is that students can kind of compare and contrast their cultural experience here with the culture of those from Spanish-speaking countries. And so if I have your child for Spanish 2, here's where you want to check in. So Spanish 2 is where we, of course, build upon Spanish 1 vocabulary and concepts. We talk about some fun themes. So family and your household, parties, throwing a party, sports, health, taking care of your body, technology, places of interest. So like going to theme parks and museums and other cultural sites, and then travel and daily routine. So it's all, again, still very like personal types of conversations. We talk about each other, we ask each other questions and how it relates to each other. Spanish 2 is very grammar heavy, so we're going to be introducing a lot of different grammar forms, probably more than we do in Spanish 1. That includes the preterite tense or the past tense, which can be a little challenging for some students to get down. We spend a lot of time working with the past tense. And then in this course, we learn about Ecuador, the Dominican Republic, Argentina, and Costa Rica. We kind of deep dive into those countries. So in my class, you can expect, your child can expect, that we'll be reading, speaking, writing, and listening every day. We touch on those 4 domains nearly every day in class. And a lot of the listening practice goes or comes from the fact that I really strive to teach about 90% of the class in the target language. So rarely am I going into English, only if I really need to clarify something or someone's really confused. And that just really helps with that listening comprehension and kind of being immersed in the language while they have 90 minutes with me. I try to promote a low-risk environment so that students are not, don't feel shy or intimidated to try to speak. And I use a variety of teaching tools and strategies so that hopefully everybody can kind of learn in their own way. So whether that's a lot of visuals or auditory, we do listening exercises, listening to music, movements, dances, physically responding to certain things, moving our body. I like to use a lot of games and a lot of different technology as well, and really just try to promote having fun while we learn, because if it's not fun, learning a language can feel like a chore, and I definitely never want that to be the case. So all students on the first day of school were sent home with a syllabus packet that has my expectations and policies in it. So this may look all look and sound familiar to you already, but just want to highlight a couple of important policies that are a shift from last year. So this year with due dates, I'm going to be very firm with due dates. So for example, daily homework is not going to be accepted late this year. And that's to keep it fair for the students who do their homework on time, because we go over the answers. I project answer keys in class. So if a student doesn't do their homework, but I accept it late and they can just copy down the answers, that's not fair to everyone else. So homework is due the day it's due and cannot be turned in late because we go over those answers. When a student is absent, they have 2 days to turn it in to me. And if there's a test or an assignment, that needs to be made up, a test or an assessment that needs to be made up within 1 week of returning. So if you're absent on, the day of a test, you have a week to make it up. Also, everything is on Canvas. So I will show you in a few minutes how if your child is absent, they can still stay in the loop with everything. Everything for the course is on Canvas. I expect students to come to class prepared, so they always need their iPad charged, a charged iPad, and also a Spanish binder. So I made this a requirement this year. All of us in the World Language Department have moved to this method. So students need to have a binder where they'll keep all of their materials throughout the year. So that's what they need to bring with them. Another policy of mine is to no cell phones, so I really just encourage students to stay engaged. If you're on your phone, you're multitasking, you're not maybe listening, you really need to listen in a language class, and also speak and just kind of be participating. I really just need students 100% with me. If students have their phone out, I ask them to put it in the phone jail, La Carcel Celular, which really just goes out. It rests on a shelf out in the open where everyone can see it. They get it at the end of class. The second time their phone's out, which this usually never happens, I have to call home and I'll just kind of say, hey, they're not following the rules. And the third time that the phone is out, it goes to the office, and the office will hold it till the end of the day. So that's kind of like, I've never had to do that at Del-Val, but that's kind of like the ultimate consequence for having your phone out. Another big rule is no using online translators. So this is really tricky. It's really tempting in today's day and age with having devices at our fingertips to want to use online translators. You will see in that policy paperwork that went home, we have a whole world language policy against the use of online translators. It's cheating. So students are welcome to look up an individual word or verb on the online dictionary, but they can't translate sentences or whole paragraphs. And really, my other expectation is just that students are attempting to speak Spanish. So I provide a lot of opportunities for speaking and engaging with the language, and that's the only way to really learn and develop those skills. So attempt to speak Spanish. So staying in the know, how does your son or daughter know what's being assigned and how do they stay on top of their assignments? First of all, homework is always shown on daily slides, which I project in the classroom. So when they first come in, I will alert them and be like, hey, here's your homework for tonight. So that's one way. It's also always on Canvas, which I'm about to show you where to find that. Assessments are always announced. They're never surprise. I don't do pop quizzes. It's always announced. So there's a warning about a test or a quiz. Grades can be checked in PowerSchool. And did I mention Canvas? So let's go into Canvas now and take a look at how the navigation of Canvas works for my course. So when you're at your Canvas dashboard, I'm just going to click on Spanish 2 as an example, but they all look the same. So when you click on the course, you're brought to the home page. So here's the home page, and I have some links here on this landing page. The big one is the weekly assignments. So when you click on that, that takes you to modules, and the weekly summary is located here. So up at the top, you would find the week, and the date is written in Spanish. So let's just look at week 2, which is the 7th of September to the 10th of September. You have an overview of what we are covering, the guiding questions, the learning objectives, and then just like a plan for the week. Another important thing is the daily slideshow that I use in class is linked right here. So this is exactly what we use in class, and it's displayed on the board. So if your child's absent, they can find the date of the slide, and that gives you the agenda and the material, like the activities that we did for that day. And that's again linked under the weekly summaries. And if you go back to modules, the content after the weekly summaries is organized by unit. So we've only had a couple days so far. So this is kind of the first day housekeeping stuff that we have to get out of the way. But then once we dive into the textbook, material will be organized by unit. And so they can find materials there. All assignments are plugged into Canvas with a due date. So for example, their first assignment is to get their contract signed, and they'll upload a photo of that contract, of those signatures. So it's actually 2 photos. And that has a due date. The assignment has a due date on Canvas. So that will populate on your students' Canvas calendar. So they'll always see, I put everything in their homework. Everything will be on the Canvas calendar. So there's like a couple ways to stay on top of your work. This year, I'll be handing out paper copies of homework, and homework will be handwritten, and a photo will be submitted to a Dropbox, such as this one. But I also will have an electronic copy, a digital copy of that handout online as well. So if for some reason the paper got lost or whatever, the backup is that everything is still on Canvas. And going back to modules, you can still find other resources within here, like the Quizlet class link, the syllabus. I also have that linked back on the home page. So here's our online textbook, online dictionary, Quizlet course. This is the Meet Me information. It's a slideshow about me. Here is the syllabus and policy packet, so that's there for reference. Some information about our International Studies Academy, which World Language is a part of. I'll be posting more information as the time comes on some travel opportunities that we are organizing and some international exchange program opportunities. And then my contact information if you need anything. So that is Canvas. And again, everything is always on Canvas. So going back to here, I am just going to wrap things up. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out via email or give me a call. And thanks again for taking the time to learn a little bit more about your child's Spanish course this year. And again, thanks for your time, and adios.